you guys are looking for the best jerseys for the best prices, make sure you guys go check out Jaden's Jerseys. We have all your favorite teams in NBA, NFL, MLB, and college football and basketball. Best prices and the best quality. So make sure you guys go check out all of our selections at Jaden's Jerseys right now.
Welcome back into the TBT podcast. We got big-time touchdowns. We got big-time games around the NFL. We got Taylor Swift talk. Yeah, you heard me right. All coming up on the TBT podcast.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the TBT podcast. TBT podcast, TBT podcast, the TBT podcast.
Welcome back in, everybody. What a weekend it was, not only for the Chiefs, but the entire NFL. I can't wait to get into some of the news, some of the things that happened in the Chicago Bears game. But today we're going to be breaking down a lot what's going on around the NFL, what's going on with some of these teams, and how things are going to start shaping up and the upcoming schedule for the Kansas City Chiefs. Because this Sunday, as we know, absolutely dominated. And I kind of said this from before on our last episode, how the Chiefs are going to come out and pretty much just dominate the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears are an absolute mess. They had to fire their DC for legal reasons. He's away from the team. Justin Fields is an absolute mess. So there was just a lot going on for Chicago. And I knew they weren't going to be able to get things done versus the Chiefs, not even make it really a close game. When you're not able to pass the ball and make plays with your receivers versus the Kansas City Chiefs team, and I'm going to get more into the Chiefs, but I kind of want to address the Bears because I do like to address a little bit the teams we play against because we do have listeners from all over. When you have a team like Chicago and Justin Fields, he has absolute time in the pocket. He really is. He's getting time in the pocket, and he's just not throwing the ball downfield. There's times where I'm seeing him just sit there. He's got the ball, and he's looking, and then he just runs. And, yeah, you can say, well, Jaden, the Chiefs' defense did have something to do with that. Yes, which I'm going to get into. But the Bears are just a mess. There's so many teams, I feel like, going into next season that are going to draft a quarterback. And I'm not talking they're just going to draft quarterback in the first round or second round. They're going to just get a quarterback in the the third, fourth, fifth round to just see what this guy's got, because majority of the teams right now could go get a quarterback. And I think there's only probably 7 teams that absolutely should stick with their quarterback. You got Buffalo, Chargers, Ravens, Bengals. I mean, those are really Jaguars. Those are the only teams in the AFC that should really outright stick with their quarterback. And that was ultimately what it came down to for the Bears, is they weren't going to be able to get it done passing, and the Chiefs knew that. This defense that the Chiefs have been building this season, there's guys coming in and out and rotating that I've never quite seen with this Chiefs team. They're so deep on the defensive side of the ball. This season, their defense could be just as good as their offense. You heard that right. I think the Kansas City Chiefs defense could be just as good as their offense. What they've been able to do through the first 3 games, they have only allowed 3 touchdowns in the first 3 games. That's probably one of the best Chiefs defenses we've seen since the Marty Schottenheimer era. This Chiefs defense, in my opinion, is a top 5 defense. And if they can be a top 5 defense throughout this year, I will guarantee a Chiefs Super Bowl in February. This team, if they can just keep it going and build what they just had on offensively through this Chicago game, they can absolutely start dominating these next couple of weeks. Some guys I want to point out, and I'm going to get back into the defense here, but guys I really just want to point out is I feel like Sky Moore is coming to his own. And a guy I think really maybe the wide receiver one is Rice. And that may be a surprise because, again, Andy Reid, and I said this before the season started, Andy Reid does not like to play rookies. Right now, I think outside of Travis Kelce, or even with Travis Kelce, I'd have to look deeper into the numbers. He's probably leading the Chiefs in receiving. I think he has close to 300 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns, almost had 2 more touchdowns. He got to the 1 yard line both times. He is playing very well. And I know some of you are going to be thinking, well, Jaden, he has a drop issue. A player he reminds me of a lot of is Dwayne Bowe. Not quite the physical stature, just goes up and grabs passes, but has the big plays, will make the big plays, but also will drop the ball a lot. And we've seen that. He's been dropping the ball. He led to poor Blaine Gabbert. Blaine Gabbert came in, was actually able to pass the ball a little bit, but the first interception was on Blaine. The second interception was completely on Richie James, I keep saying Richie James, Rashee Rice. That was on Rice. So I felt bad for Blaine Gabbert. He kind of came in, and some Chiefs fans were kind of like, oh, no, we can't have Patrick Mahomes have a Chad Henne-like moments, which I like to call them, where he gets kind of banged up and Blaine Gabbert has to come in for like a half a game or something. No, I think Blaine Gabbert's a good backup. It's just, again, unfortunately, you had Rice, so lead to an interception. But again, going back to Rice, he's played well. I think he can be the wide receiver one in this offense. And we got to think this is early in the season. You have to remember that, Chiefs fan. He is having this level of production early in the season. I would like to see a guy, Ross, another basically type rookie, Ross get more touches. But what Rice has done the first couple of weeks, 200 yards, 200 plus yards, 2 touchdowns, getting some receptions, getting the most looks at wide receiver. This is huge because as the season goes on, he's only going to get more chemistry. He's only going to get better. So this is a huge thing on offense. And I know a lot of people were saying, well, Jaden, the only reason why the offense put up that many points and clicked was because they were playing the Bears. Well, they're about to go play the Jets, who, yes, they're not great offensively, but they have a really, really, really good defense. And I think they can have the same type of success because you got Travis Kelce going. But again, Travis Kelce didn't have his big time game or anything like that. It was more, with the whole Taylor Swift thing, which we're definitely going to get into here on the TPT podcast. But it was more of, Sky Moore made plays when he needed to. MVS has a big catch over middle, but Jawaan Taylor continues to be a problem. And that's one of my concerns is you have a guy like Jawaan Taylor. But we'll get into that in a second. You had a guy like MVS who, again, can be, I feel like, that big play guy. He just got to get the ball in his hands more and be that deep threat. But right now, their deep threat is Justin Watson. Watson is their deep threat. He had a big catch over the middle. He's going to be their deep threat guy as of right now. But I like the way Rice has looked. Rice has looked really, really good. Sky Moore has kind of stepped into that role of him kind of being the lead guy, out receiver as well. So I've kind of liked what the receiver core looks like this week. And again, a lot of people may say Jaden Downs versus the Bears. But you have the Jets coming up, a team who struggled. Then you have a team in the Broncos. Then you go play the Chargers, Broncos, and then obviously you have a big game versus the Dolphins in week number 8. But the way this Chiefs offense is going to start meshing with some of these receivers, the thing that you can really just hang your hat on, and we know that their offense is going to get clicking because you have a guy like Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, is, if the offense isn't scoring 35 points a game, 32 points a game, the defense is a top 3 defense, top 5 defense in the NFL. Our defensive line has looked absolutely beautiful. In these next couple of games, we're not going to play a dominant offensive line until probably week 10 versus the Eagles. You can even talk about the Dolphins, but we're not going to play a dominant D line until we play the Philadelphia Eagles. And we don't even have a Charles Omenihu has not played for the Chiefs yet. And the level of pressure and the way they've been able to get after the quarterback has been absolutely insane. George Karlaftis, yeah, he hasn't had really the sacks yet, but he's getting after the quarterback, making the quarterback have to throw some balls, like getting the type of pressures that he needs. So I think that Karlaftis has played great. I would like to see a little bit more from Felix Uzama. I feel like there's times where he's in play to make a tackle, and he really just doesn't. But this defensive line has been absolutely phenomenal. Trent McDuffie, I really want to point out Trent McDuffie. Trent McDuffie has played absolutely phenomenal these first 3 games, shutting down big-time receivers. He's played absolutely phenomenal. Snead has played well. I think the corners have been a big, big reason why. And you want to say, well, Jaden, we'll see when they play a team like the Miami Dolphins. Yeah, that'll be the next test. Obviously, you're going to have tests in between. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But as of right now, this is a top 5 defense in the NFL. There's no ifs and buts about it. When you have Chris Jones getting after the quarterback like he did, he's already high. Shout out Mike Dana. Mike Dana has played absolutely phenomenal. So I think this Chiefs defensive line is top 3, and I think this defense in general is a top 5 defense in the NFL. If they keep playing like this, all the offense has to do is get to that 30 number, and the defense keeps taking care of business. This is going to be a dangerous, dangerous Chiefs team. After just losing that first game, I think the Chiefs could go on a major roll here and win some big, 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 big-time games in the NFL. The next thing I kind of want to talk about is the way our offensive line is played. I'm not concerned on Donovan Smith. I'm not going to sit here and say he's played bad. He hasn't played great. I'm not concerned about Donovan Smith. The interior, we don't even have to say anything about the interior. They're great. Guard, center, guard. You got Smith, Tooney, and Creed Humphrey, all Pro Bowlers or all pro guys. Not concerned about it at all. Jawaan Taylor. You got Taylor Swift up in the stands, rooting for Kelsey. And then on the field, you got Jawaan Taylor. Absolutely horrible. Absolutely. I was so dead wrong about Jawaan Taylor, and I'm not going to try to go on a little rant here. Jawaan Taylor can sit there and try to say, other teams do it, other guys do it. They're not right up on the line. You're in a legal formation almost every single time, Jawaan Taylor. And I think he's going to end up being good. But what he's got to realize is there is a emphasis on what he's doing. He does have his head, doesn't have his shoulders all the way up on the line. So guess what the ref's going to do when teams have made it known that he does that? They're going to call it. Jawaan Taylor has to stop, and they're gonna go up to him probably after this game and say, "Hey, you're costing our team touchdowns." He cost an MVS touchdown. He really did. The Chiefs could have won 50 to 10 if they wanted to. But Jawaan Taylor had a couple penalties, a big-time penalty on MVS, a touchdown, because he absolutely burnt his corner and scored a beautiful touchdown. Sucks he wasn't able to get it. I think that would have been a big boost for MVS. But Jawaan Taylor, yes, he is a liability right now. He is a problem right now. And that is one of my concerns leaving this game versus other teams that have good pass rushers, like Joey Bosa, like this team in the New York Jets coming up, is Jawaan Taylor has got to be on pins and needles on execution and doing the right thing, getting his head at the line of scrimmage and not wanting to get a head start and backing up a step so he has a head start on the defensive ends. No, dude, trust in your game. Well, you got a guy like Mahomes who can evade some pressures. And again, a lot of people coming over from Tampa, a lot of people had concerns about Donovan Smith. I don't personally have any concern about Donovan Smith. I thought he played absolutely phenomenal. Let me know what you guys think about some of the Kansas City Chiefs concerns and what some of your takeaways from the game. I mean, you had, like I said, you had Jawaan Taylor on the field, and then you had Taylor Swift up in the crowd. So the difference between the two Taylors. But Travis Kelce, if we can have Taylor Swift in the house every single time, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to play like this. What I don't get is some of you Swifties that are like, ew, this is gross. Travis Kelce is gross. From what I know, every female NFL fan I know, think Travis Kelce is the man. So what is with all these Swifties? I know we're getting off football here, but what is with all these Swifties talking about Travis Kelce? Ew, no, he's cringy, he's gross, he's not attractive, this, that, and the other. Stay off my man, Travis Kelce. And I saw Dan Big Cat say this from Barstool. Shout out Dan Big Cat. Big Cat, he brings an awesome analysis on this. It's like these Taylor Swift fans want her to be miserable so she can write music about heartbreaks. And if she doesn't write music about heartbreaks, she does have a happy relationship one day, they won't be able to relate to her, and then they'll stop listening to her music. So I think they do like Taylor Swift miserable. Personally, I think it is a publicity stunt. She was in there with Mama Kelce. I don't think this thing is going to last. I personally don't like it as a Chiefs fan. It is getting a little repetitive. Every time I open my phone, they're talking about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Personally, I hope this ends quicker than later. But if they do actually, have something going and Travis Kelce, has something going with her, shout out Travis Kelce. Hope he's happy. But I just think it was kind of funny that these Taylor Swift fans are not about this. I'm not really about it either, but they're trying to come after my man Travis Kelce. I am not about it. That's my thing. Swifties, stay away from my man Travis Kelce. And now that I got my kind of TMZ out of the way, one thing that needs to stay away from is the Denver Broncos from the city of Miami. I know it was hot. It was over 100 degrees on the field. Maybe that's why they gave up so much. I mean, I don't even TPT Nation. I don't even know how you as a Broncos fans, you TPT Nation Broncos people, if there's any out there, how you guys can sit there and before the season talk about you got Sean Payton, how you're going to make the playoffs, how you're going to be a good team. And it's not really Russell Wilson's fault. 70 points. 70-20. I don't ever want to hear these Denver Broncos fans, who, mind you, haven't beat us since Barack Obama was in office, how you guys have a shot to win the division. You guys lost like it was an FCS team. 70. You lost by 50. 50. You guys were out there playing like a team from 1950. The Miami Dolphins are a very good team. But 70-20? I don't ever want to hear a Broncos fan say how they're going. They're next year. I don't care who you pick up. Just save yourself. I don't want to hear nothing. The draft is coming up. Off season will be here in 7-8 months. So you got that to look forward to. Again, so you can keep your same cycle as, we're going to be different this year. We're going to be good this year. First of all, Sean Payton, don't ever talk about another head coach ever. Just because you have a Super Bowl doesn't give you the right to bash Hackett last year for his coaching when your team looks absolutely horrendous. How the Denver Broncos are supposed to be a top five defense in the league. They've absolutely fallen apart. A lot of people bash me for not having the Broncos in the playoffs. Absolutely not. I honestly think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be the only team in the playoffs out of the AFC West this year. I think the Chargers get close, but they don't quite make it. There's some other teams in the AFC that I just think they're not going to quite make it. The team of the Jets, I thought the Jets were going to be a lot better. But again, Aaron Rodgers getting hurt. I think the Jags are kind of a mess right now. They need to figure out everything that's going on. I think they're still leading that division. It's all kind of a division tie right now. Patriots, I think their schedule is too tough for them to make the postseason. You got teams like Cleveland, who I think will sneak in. Baltimore, with the Bengals' bad play and absence of Joe Burrow probably this week, I think they go 0-3, and they finish the season probably 9-8, 8-9, and they don't make the playoffs. And I think a team like the Steelers will replace them, even though I'm not a big fan of Kenny Pickett. I don't think Kenny Pickett's their guy, but I think they have the defense to sneak into the playoffs. I really do. I think they have the defense to sneak into the playoffs. I'm just not big on Kenny Pickett. Buffalo Bills, I don't think they're a team that can make a deep run in the playoffs just because Josh Allen has a tendency to turn over the ball. But they're starting to find their groove. I think they'll be a playoff team. And then you have obviously the Chiefs with, again, the way their defense is playing and the way we know their offense is going to start playing. Probably going to be the number one offense in the league. And you have a top 5 defense who's going to give them extra possessions. I think the Chiefs run away this season with the first seed. Because you got teams like the Raiders, who, again, Josh McDaniels is not making the right head coaching decisions, going for a field goal instead of going for it within your own 10. I don't think they're a team that quite makes it. And this year, I think it is kind of more an open book this year with some of the teams. You have, again, Baltimore just lost to the Texans. I think that was a kind of wake-up call. They do have some injuries, I will say that. Seattle's a team that's just kind of going like this, losing to the Panthers. Last week beating the Lions. The Lions, they're starting to take the North. The Packers are a sleeper team. I'll say this. Jordan Love is a good quarterback. I was wrong about Jordan Love, and so are a lot of people. Jordan Love is the quarterback, and I think he'll be very successful in Green Bay. I don't know if he'll quite be an Aaron Rodgers, but you give him some time, and Jordan Love will be successful in Green Bay. I don't know what's in the cheese out there. I really don't. I don't know what's in the cheese out there. But Jordan Love, I think in the next 3 years will be a top 5 quarterback. We've seen it from Bart Starr, from Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now Jordan Love. There's something in the cheese in Wisconsin and in Green Bay that's producing these high-level quarterbacks. And just the style and the play of Jordan Love, I think he can be a pretty good quarterback. And I think very soon he will be a top 5 quarterback. He put it on the Saints. The Saints is another team where they kind of have the Derek Carr injury. He's listed as day-to-day. They may have to rely on Jameis Winston. They were right down to the wire with the Green Bay Packers. They missed a field goal to tie the game. But they're a team I think can win that division. The Falcons just lost their first game. I think they're going to have to do more than just run the ball. They got a guy like Kyle Pitts out there. I don't think they're using him quite well. A lot of people are saying you could see the Chiefs go after a guy like Kyle Pitts for maybe a 4th-round pick, 5th-round pick. I would actually love to see that happen. I think Kyle Pitts is not being used right in Atlanta, and I would love to see him there. The surprise team for me, I think that they could possibly upset the Philadelphia Eagles at home, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have good receivers. They have Baker Mayfield that has the confidence underneath him, has a swagger. When Baker plays a swag, it's a big-time thing, and he usually gets the job done. So I like what Baker Mayfield's doing in Tampa. The Cardinals, shout out to the Cardinals. They're fighting every single game with a young head coach. Josh Dobbs, he's going to secure them the 1st overall pick for Caleb Williams. But shout out Joshua Dobbs and beating the Dallas Cowboys. When a lot of people in my lives and when I go live on TikTok said the Dallas Cowboys should be the lock of the week, when I had it as Kansas City. And look what happened. Arizona at home was able to get a Dallas Cowboys team. So shout out the Arizona Cardinals. Another team that I just was really disappointed in, and I thought they were going to be a lot better than this, was the Minnesota Vikings, man. I don't know what's going on in Minnesota. They just, it's from turnovers to defense to just the whole shebang. The Minnesota Vikings just look stale. And I think this is going to be the last year of Kirk. A lot of people are saying the New York Jets should trade for Kirk Cousins. I don't think it'll happen, but I do think the Jets should make a move for somebody because Zach Wilson's not it. But nonetheless, like I said, I just think the Minnesota Vikings have been one of the most disappointing teams, as they were a team that started out so hot last year, and now they've kind of fallen off the map this year. I thought they'd be a team that could possibly win their division over the Detroit Lions. They just really haven't done much. Another disappointing team, I think, has been obviously the Cincinnati Bengals, who could fall to 0-3 tonight. They would have only a 3% chance to make the playoffs if they fall to the Rams tonight, which I am going to pick the Los Angeles Rams. I think the Rams get it done. I don't think Joe Burrow plays just because you have a guy like Darnold coming after a guy like that. I would actually love to see a guy, A.J. McCarron. Shout out A.J. McCarron. He plays in the XFL, and they just signed him to the practice squad. I'd love to see them elevate him. And you would have A.J. McCarron playing tonight for the Cincinnati Bengals. So, you know, I really would like to see a guy in A.J. McCarron get that job done for the Cincinnati Bengals if Joe Burrow isn't able to play. But let me know what you guys think of what happened around the league. Pretty much covered what I thought some of the big games were. But let me know what you guys think of what happened around the league and what you guys liked about the Chiefs game, what you guys think they have to do on some of the offensive side of the ball and some of the defense side of the ball to keep this success going into next week's game versus the New York Jets. That'll about do it for today's episode. We went over around the league, Kansas City Chiefs. We even went over Taylor Swift. So make sure you guys follow us here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Go over to TikTok and Instagram and follow us over there at TPT Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. We're also on Spotify. If you guys want to listen to the audio version, go to Spotify and check us out on Spotify. With that being said, guys, go Chiefs, go Taylor Swift, and we'll see you guys next time on the TPT Podcast.